Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. My name is Joe. Today I'm going to do an introductory video on The Long Road from Flying Pig Games, designed by Mark H. Walker. This is a Third World War game, so kind of an alternate history, but it's alternate history with a twist because Mark has included paranormal elements in this. So you have lycans, which are werewolves, you have vampires, you have zombies, etc., fighting kind of a third. Well, they're fighting amongst themselves and they're also fighting against the Soviets and the Americans in the base game. But I know some people might not like that, so maybe they've avoided the game, but I believe they're missing out if they do that. And I do want to point out that there is a several scenarios in the Long Road Tactics, which is included in this game. So it's outside this campaign book, but what it gives you is historical based scenarios. So Americans versus the Soviets, straight up, good old fashioned World War III combat in West Germany in the mid 80s. So kind of what you would expect. The system is based on Platoon Commander. So if you've played Platoon Commander, particularly Platoon Commander Deluxe, which is also published by Flying Pig. The early Platoon Commander games are available from Tiny Battle. But this system is based on that system. Obviously, it's got a few tweaks to it for the sake of adding these paranormal elements. So you have some additional rules and so on. The rule book itself is pretty straightforward. It's not super complicated. The system works very, very well. You have kind of an introductory blurb here. You can see some of the artwork in here, and the artwork in this game is fantastic. Typical Flying Pig games materials here. The mounted maps are outstanding. The counters are big and easy to read, and the hexes on the maps are big. The component quality, as always, from Flying Pig is just outstanding. So you can see some of the artwork here. This would be Mike Hudson. He's an American. This is Katerina. She's a vampire. And then in here you would see, descriptions of the various counters and so on and what they are. See, here's Hudson's counter. They have abilities. If you watched my videos on the game 65, which is a squad battles game, also designed by Mark Walker, also from Flying Pig Games, that has abilities. This works kind of the same way. These are things that they can do that make them more powerful than just a regular unit. So essentially you have kind of three different categories. You have champions, which are the paranormal entities. So this is Tentani. Tentani is a lycan or a werewolf. You have Hudson. He's an American hero, and the heroes kind of operate on their own. As Mark says, they have a posse, so to speak, where that they fight with those people, but they're not really represented. They're just kind of included in the ratings. And then you have champions, which are attached, or not champions, I'm sorry, commanders, which are attached to a unit. So this is Matt Dahl. He is a tank commander, so he's with an M1 Abrams crew, typically an M1 Abrams platoon. As I said, this is based on Platoon Commander, so your units are platoons. Over here you can see this is an infantry platoon. So really quick, if you look at the numbers here, this 4 is their armor-piercing firepower. The 6 here is their HE, or basically their anti-personnel type of firepower. 2 is their movement. 8 is their close assault rating. That's involved in, obviously, when you have an assault within a hex. And then down here we have the Abrams. Obviously the anti-tank armor piercing is much higher. It's 14. The -1 indicates you would subtract 1 from the dice roll. Then you have the, again, HE firepower, movement, and close assault. And then this is the armor rating. So everything makes a whole lot of sense. You read through the rule book. The rule book is only, I think, 30 some odd pages long. 38 pages long, but the last few are, it's 32 pages of rules, and then there's a couple of things that explain, like this explains the abilities that the various units have. And then here you have just kind of a summary of the sequence of play, which is really nice. You just have this open when you play the first couple of times. follow along, and everything will be laid out for you so you can see what's going on. Like if you're doing, if you have an Abrams, they have their movement factor here is marked with a little starburst in orange that indicates that they can move and fire, which only a handful of units can actually do. So that lets them do things like this gun and run here, which it says unit can fire, incurring the moving fire penalty, and then moves up to half its movement factor in the movement phase. So you can fire and say, I'm going to fire and I'm going to move, and it's moving fire, and it allows you to do multiple things because the Abrams, being an advanced vehicle, an advanced tank, was able to do a little bit more than maybe your T-64 would, or your Patton would, or whatever it may be. So again, the rules are very straightforward, and if you've played Platoon Commander, a lot of them will be familiar. Then you have your campaign book, which contains all the scenarios for the Long Road campaign. Now, Mark's also written several novels, 2 that have been published. He's working on a new one that kind of go hand in hand with this. Now, you don't have to have read the novel, but if you do, then you'll see the characters that are in this game are in the novels as well. Like Matt Dahl is a sergeant in the Army. He's a tank commander. He's in the game. Mike Hudson, the hero, he's in the book. He's also in the game. Katarina, the vampire, she has a relationship with Hudson, and she's also in the game, etc. So it's all tied together. Mark has a kind of fleshed out universe around this thing, and for someone like me who's read the book, well, I've read the first book. I haven't read the second book yet, and I will read the third one when he's done and it's published. But it helps to give you a little bit extra immersion, so to speak. So scenario-wise, there are multiple scenarios in here. In fact, there are a lot of scenarios in here. So we go all the way to the end here. You've got, is this the last one? This is probably the last one. So this is the last scenario, and it is scenario number 17, the grand finale. So you have 17 scenarios here in the campaign book. You add, I think, the 6 or so that are in the Long Road Tactics book. If you buy the Fatherland expansion, you get the West German Army. So you'll get some Leopard tanks, get those Leos out there, let them do their thing. They're a pretty powerful and exciting unit to play with as well. So you get the West Germans, and then they also threw in some East German units, and there's a scenario for them where they kind of turn their coats, so to speak, on the Soviets. And so, you have what East German units, West German units, plus your Soviets and your Americans. There are helicopters, there are A-10 Thunderbolts, there are werewolves and vampires and zombies. There's a whole lot going on in this game, and you get a whole lot of game when you buy the game. So, like I said, I know this is probably not visually all that enthralling, but I wanted to do a, kind of a somewhat quick introduction of the game itself. So here we have our 2 player aids. You have your fire results table. Firing in this game is very straightforward. You take your firepower. So if we had our Abrams, which has a 14 and its color band is red for armor piercing, you have your red right here, and it tells you what the range effects are. So at short range, your firepower would get shifted to the right. At long range, it gets shifted to the left, which makes it weaker. But you see, if you're within 4 hexes with the Abrams, you're at short range, you're going to get your firepower of 14, which would actually get rounded down to 12. It's going to shift up to a 16. And if you look at the results here, you can see that there are a lot of X's in here, and X's is an elimination. And the number after the hex, or when it's just a number by itself, those are the number of hits. You get 6 10-sided die with the game. You roll those dice for the number of hits, and then you use the morale of the defender to determine whether or not they are hit. First hit is a disruption. Second hit is a reduction. Third hit is an elimination. So it's very, very straightforward. It captures the kind of, deadly nature of modern warfare very well. There are things that are in the system. You might have smoke. and there's multispectral smoke. You have advanced targeting on like the Abrams that can see through regular smoke, but not the multispectral stuff. You have, artillery and the impact of artillery throwing dirt up in the air and, you know, reducing your line of sight, etc. So, just as you would expect from somebody with the tactical chops of Mark Walker, this game has a lot of, what some people might call chrome or whatever. It's just, it accounts for a lot of things. And to me, it works really, really well. Now, I've played several scenarios. I really like the game. I'm going to do a playthrough video, probably multiple playthrough videos, but one from the regular campaign, probably scenario 4, I'm thinking, from the regular campaign, so you can see what the game is like with the paranormal elements involved. Maybe I'll do one from the tactics, so you can see what a straight up historical one looks like, and then maybe I'll even do one from Fatherland, so you can see the West Germans with their leopards and so forth. So I'm not going to stick around here too much longer. I just wanted to do kind of a basic introduction to this game, and I will be back soon with the first of the playthrough videos. So as always, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you would. I appreciate it. My name is Joe. This is Hexed Encountered, and happy gaming.